Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Shadow and Sun Show, and welcome to a strange response video, because I feel like I've said this before, but maybe it's not sinking into some people, or it's not spreading the way I would like it to, and I think you'll all agree with me. It's not a bad idea. But John was talking about John, the basic expert, was talking about the shelf life of RPGs and all the things that he's seeing with the rise of video games being better and whatnot, and I it almost feels like to me like maybe he's lost something along the way, when my friends and I, and that's the key word here, folks, and I'll get back to that in a second. When I got into the hobby, it was because one of my schoolyard chums said, "Hey, come over to my place, blah, blah, blah. We're playing this game, called Dungeons & Dragons." I didn't even hear any of that. It's like, "Come over to my place, we're going to hang out." Because that's what we did. We did things with our friends, people we cared about, people we grew up with, had gone to school with a couple of years, or maybe since kindergarten or whatever. I was in the 7th grade at the time. And, we had just met that year, and we'd become friends. And we had this small group, you probably have one of your own, small group of really, good friends. And you did everything together. And you just found people you liked, and you hung out with them. And next thing you know, you care about them, and you're going to their birthday parties, and you're celebrating the holidays with them, and you're celebrating when they do good, and you get bummed out when something bad happens to them. And over the past 5 years playing online, I have met a lot of great, interesting people. This little fuzzball, not being one of them, because he's not a people. And I game with a lot of people, and I've gamed with a lot of people. And to me, it seems that since the golden age, whatever you want to call it, when I started playing in the 70s and 80s, it as cool as the game was, and there were a lot of them besides Dungeons & Dragons that we slowly got into, we would have never thought of playing without our bros, our friends, people we grew up with, the people that were in our lives, the people we'd be hanging out with, doing other stuff, going to the movies, hanging out at the local, different restaurants that we hung out after school, just being friends. And it seems to me that over the years, what used to be a social experience has become a selfish experience, and it's all about me, 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 me. Every player or GM I meet from a certain point, and I'm not saying you, John, just so you know, but there are a bunch of people out there, a lot of gamers and a lot of players that I've met. It's all about them and their wants, their desires, their needs. And a good friend of mine, I'm not going to say who because everybody will know who he is, but I don't want to single him out, said something along the lines of, well, what if my character actually cares more about the other characters? Instead of, and I'm like, well, that's fucking awesome. Excuse my French, but that's like, that's a friend. That's someone you want in your life. That's someone you want around. That's someone you want to reciprocate to. My mom used to have this expression, and I'll never let it go. Your friends are people who know all about you and like you anyways. And I know a lot of people that I've gamed with that they just didn't make it that far. Not saying they were bad people. Some of them were. There were a small handful of people that I would never invite to a game, but even some of those I would invite to dinner. I would, want to spend the holidays with them if I was in town for some reason. I'd invite them into my house. I would call them, if I hadn't heard from them in a while. I might not want to game with them though, but that's because they're still my friends. And that's the best thing about this hobby. Sure, there's going to be better ways to play D&D and role-playing games. And someday, future generations are going to be able to plug into the internet or the interwebs or whatever and be there in the holodeck and play their game. But you know what? At some point, you got to come out, and who are the people that you're going to still want to hang out with? Are they the same people you want to game with, or are your real friends out there? You know, people you do you want them in your game? Is there a difference? Do you have like game friends and non-game friends? Because see, growing up in the beginning, this game was like kind of like a secret, like a taboo, like a hidden club. You were secret members of this cult, you know, kind of like deep dark secret. Not for me and my friends, because where we lived, it wasn't like that. But I know so many people who grew up who had to play like this game in secret, and like you have to like speak in hushed whispers when you were talking about the game outside the game. And now you can just, you know, let your freak flag fly, as they used to say, and talk about it all over the place, and nobody will bat an eye because nobody gives a damn. Nobody cares. Nobody cares what you're talking about because everybody's too busy, you know, taking care of their own wants and desires and needs with their little portable tracking device instead of, you know, actually having friends, being a friend, caring about what they do outside the game, not making sure they're optimized for the next game session, but like, you know, how's the wife and kids? Some of my games are well known for breaking into anything but a game in the middle of a game or before the game or after the game, because over the years we've become friends, and to me that's way more important than all the games, all the books, all the dice, all the miniatures, even all the experiences, is the knowledge that these people, for whatever reason, still choose to come and hang out with my other friends, with me, you know, ask how my wife and my son are doing, you know, even my dog, you know, because there's more to life than this hobby. And that's what I've got for you. Going into the weekend, I hope you guys have a great one. John, I hope maybe this clicks with you in some way, because I felt really bad. You know, it's like, who cares? One last thing, I guess before I go, I wanted to bring this up. My wife's family, they play this game. I think it's called El Lottery or El Lotteria, whatever. I don't know. It's like Candyland, where they roll a die and they move a little piece around the board, trying to get to the end. And you know, sometimes you land on a square, go back 3 squares. You know, stupid shit like that. You know, mindless. There's no skill. It's pure luck, and yet they'll play it all the time when they get together, because it's not about the game. So maybe take that to heart. Maybe you know, remember that time is short, and you know, you can always play a video game, but you can't always play with your friends. I'll talk to you guys later. Have a great weekend. Love you guys, and until then, God bless.